Hey everyone, this is Sani, and we have another Varlamore reward blog. Varlamore, the final reward blog, hopefully. So this is version I think 5 now we're on for the Delve boss, and I think this is the last one. Hopefully, I would be really surprised if it wasn't. So without further ado, let's get into it. There's not too much going on here that's different, and yeah. So with a couple of tweaks, we'll be on to a winner, addressing some concerns, and we'll include it all in the upcoming poll question. So yeah, I think we'll probably get the poll for this like in the next week or two. I don't think they'll change anything. And yeah, they're already actually they have the poll here, so yeah, the poll should be live soon, I guess, if it's not already. Starting off with the Avernic treads, the boots, not making any changes. They did say that their initial stats or their wording was incorrect. So when they dropped the last blog, they said that the base version had the same stats as what they originally proposed, and then the upgraded version was just better, which was not true. The melee strength of the base version was +4, which primordial boots are +5, so it was worse than what they had originally proposed. They address this here, and they say we want to keep a balance while also making sure that upgrading feels impactful. So we'll keep the melee strength of 4. I still don't think we need that. I mean, even a +1 melee strength is still impactful. You would always, I mean, primordial boots are like 20 mil. You would always use them to upgrade. So I still don't understand why we're like trying to keep the value of these Serb boots high when it's been like 10 years since they've been released, and they come from a level 91 Slayer boss that's like incredibly easy to kill. So again, yeah, I wish they changed that a little bit. There's also here this sentence here. We also think the treads will pair nicely with the upcoming Oathplate armor. Well, if it passes the poll, they really, and I said this I think in the original blog on the last blog, they should have made the Vernic treads a +7 melee strength, because if it was +7 melee strength, then you run into the situation where the full Oathplate armor gains a max hit. It goes back up to 50 on the full Oathplate armor setup to a 50 max hit, which is, really significant, because then you go 50, 25, 12 max hits, you're only losing one. As it stands now, with the treads as a +6, with the full oath plate, you go down to a 49 max hit, which is significant because then you go to a 49, 24, 12. So you're losing two max hits. You're losing the 49 and you're losing the 24 to 25 max hit. So I actually totally disagree. I think the treads pair horribly with the oath plate armor. If they made it +7, it would pair incredibly with it, and you would be incentivized to wear the full set. But as it stands now, there's actually really no reason to ever wear the full oath plate set unless you're doing a really high slash boss like, let's say, Vard or Duke. As it stands now, you will, if you're scything content, you're going to be bringing the Oathplate body and legs with the Blorva helmet. That's going to be best in slot because that'll get you that 50 max hit, which is so important because, again, like I said, it's 2 hits instead of 1. So, yeah, I still wish they would have rebalanced this. I hate the fact that the Oathplate armor is going to be mix and match. Mix and matching endgame sets like that, I think, is just really stupid and looks really lame. And especially with everyone clamoring for the Oathplate armor to have a different color setup than black and red, it's really going to look like absolutely ridiculous. I mean, imagine, like, I see a lot of people asking for Oathplate to match the holy side, so like some sort of white and blue, but then you're going to be wearing it, again, you're always going to be wearing it with the Blorva helm until we get a 52 Scythe max hit, which is years down the line. So for years, you're going to be wearing it with a Blorva helm. It's going to look horrible. So yeah, really wish they would have changed that so we could have worn it the full set, but regardless. On to the Eye of Ayuk, the 3-tick magic weapon. So they have some clarifications. This is really important here. They said that the eye's range is 6, but it does have a long range mode of 8. 8 tile long range is the same long range length as a Sang staff or a trident. So this is really important for Nilo, just because you're able to get those pre-fires without having to wait a tick for the Nilos to get closer. If it had a long range of 7, it would have had to change some of the rotation because you wouldn't have been able to immediately pre-fire. So yeah, that is really good. Good clarification there. And they expect it to perform for all activities it was designed for, and they specifically say Nilo room at top. So really like that. They lowered the spec attack cost to 50%. I think that's good. The spec attack it's pretty niche, so lowering it to 50% I don't think hurts anything at all. Makes it actually useful a little bit. It's still pretty niche, but there's a little more use now, at least with a special attack. So All in all, I think this is great. Love the eye. I think this is probably one of the best items that they have in the whole reward blog. So really big fan of this. The gauntlets. This is the really big point of contention here. The confliction gauntlets and the passive effect working with the shadow. So this reward and project as a whole doesn't have the scope to address specific shadow issues, but we do have to make a tweak to the description of the passive. I think, one thing I'd like to mention, it's becoming so obvious that the shadow needs a tweak, and I really wish they would just address it. They say here, this project doesn't have the scope to address specific shadow issues. Can we at least get some clarification saying we will in the future though address the shadow issues, probably in, I know they're doing the summer cleanup, which is a lot of QOL stuff. That to me seems like the perfect area, perfect kind of project to address the shadow specific issues. I actually saw a YouTube video this morning on the shadow and on a proposed update to it to help balance it. I think it was a really great video. I think their proposed changes were really good. It doesn't affect the DPS of the shadow in max mage right now, but it does affect the shadow's cap in the fact that the shadow won't continue to scale at such a high level, because that's the issue with the shadow right now. And that's why these gauntlets, that's why it's taken us so many blogs for this, is because it's been so difficult to release a mage item without breaking the shadow, without just incredibly buffing the shadow, because we're kind of at an inflection point where now the shadow is as good as the other megas, but as we add more and more items, it becomes even better and better and better. And it's a multiplier. It's multiplied by 3, so it becomes better at a much faster rate than the T-bow, and then the scythe become better. So I'll link that video in the description. I really recommend you guys check it out. It's a really simple solution that I think fixes all the problems. I'd really love to see Jagex address that in the shadow in the summer cleanup, but I think what they have now on the gauntlets is a fine it's a fine workaround. So basically, it's the same passive effect it had before, but the next magic attack has to be within 4 ticks. So you can't use the shadow because shadow's a 5-tick weapon, so it doesn't affect the shadow. This does mean it doesn't affect the barrage spells like Ice Barrage or Blood Barrage, which is a change for PvP. I know there were some arguments about how powerful these gauntlets would be in PvP, considering you would basically always refreeze. So you would, if you splash your first freeze, you would always get that second refreeze, and then a meta would become, you would honestly want to purposely splash right before the refreeze cooldown resets, so then you have a guaranteed refreeze. So I know there was a lot of talk about that and just kind of how overpowered it would be. So I think changing it for barrage also works as well. It doesn't really affect PvP at all. I mean, there's Bandos. If you're trying to freeze Bandos, it would have been nice, and that's really one of the only situations. I mean, Blood Barrage top duos, it's so it never makes a difference because you would never splash. So yeah, I think this is a good workaround, but it's also become painfully obvious that we now need some sort of way to address the shadow, because we have had to change these rewards so many times specifically because of the shadow. So we'd love to see that. Again, please check that video out. Really great video. Really good points laid out there. Last one, Demonic Spade. They renamed it from Demonic Digger. Really disappointed on that. I was really looking forward to having something called the Demonic Digger in the game. I will still be calling it the Demonic Digger. A lot of people were upset about the power creep or whatever. I mean, it's fine. It's fucking farming. Let's be honest. Who cares? But what they changed here, double harvest speed, so it's still a big upgrade. That's fine, yeah. I mean, double harvest speed, you can one-tick stuff without having to, spam click is nice. Or, even, 2 herbs every 1 tick is still fine. I think that's fine, and I still think it's a good reward, so. And it will be useful for, yeah, so, I mean, yeah, it'll be used like a Cox, like they say here. It's a decent upgrade for Cox. I mean, I guess the Demonic Digger was a pretty big boost for prep, but also, you're not ever prepping in a speed run, so it's not that big of a deal. And you'll be main hand equipable. That's nice. I'm sure it'll look cool. So yeah, that's it for the rewards here. I think they did a great job. I mean, really, I said it in the last one. I thought they really did a good job. My only big concerns was with the gauntlets and with the way it worked with the shadow. They addressed that. I mean, it was kind of a little bit of a workaround to get it there, but it works, and I think it's fine. I do think they still need to address shadow in the future. I would have loved to see the boots +7 again. I really, it's kind of that's more on the Yama blog stuff, but I really, really am disappointed that we're gonna have to mix and match the oath plate armor. Hoping to see another update to the armor itself, to the design. They released, a concept log for the armor, and just I wasn't a huge fan. It wasn't the worst. It's really like the plume on the helmet I wasn't a big fan of, which isn't that big of a deal because again, like I said, you're never gonna wear the helmet until we get a 52 scythe exit. So yeah, would like to see a new concept though, see what they do. Hopefully they don't fuck up the the coloring because it's gonna look ridiculous with a Blorva helm if they have it completely mismatched. But yeah, that's I think that's all I have. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys are excited for this, I'm excited for these updates coming out now. I mean, we've got some really good rewards. I've been, like just grinding, just trying to make money because there's a lot of stuff coming out here, and all of these are must buys. This is gonna be between the treads, Ayak, gauntlets, and then also the oath plate armor, the horn, the surge potions for Yama. I mean, there's a lot of stuff coming out. It's going to be, 1 bill plus worth of gear that we're going to have coming into the game that's all going to be really useful. So yeah, definitely a lot more motivation to play and a lot, really excited about everything coming into the game. So let me know what you guys think, how excited you guys are, and as always, thanks for watching.